welcome to another startup and complete car documentation. What we're looking at today is a 2010 Mini John Cooper Works hardtop. This JCW hardtop is painted in chili red with a contrasting black roof and mirror caps. On the key fob, you have the buttons for lock, unlock, and trunk release. Tailgate release, I should say. Frameless windows. The door panels have storage areas. It has power mirrors, and then power windows and power door locks, which are in the center stack. It has a two-tone gray and carbon black leatherette interior. Both front seats are manually adjusted. You also got aluminum sport pedals. But now that we're behind the wheel, let's go ahead and start the engine. Got push button ignition as well. The original Mini, which was built by numerous different companies spanning from 1959 all the way up until 2000 in some markets, was a true British icon. For one thing, there was the distinctive, instantly recognizable styling. Another thing, there was its influential front-wheel drive transverse-mounted engine configuration, which resulted in a surprisingly roomy interior despite its diminutive dimensions. Not to mention its rich heritage in motorsports, such as rally racing. That takes us now to the early 2000s, a time where numerous automakers are coming out with retro throwback-themed cars. It was then that an all-new, modern take on the Mini was introduced. By 2000, German automaker BMW had acquired the Mini nameplate, and launched the all-new Mini for the 2001 model year. Although it is much larger and more modern than the Minis of old, the new BMW-developed Mini is still immediately recognizable as a Mini, with tons of key styling elements carried over from the original. It is officially called the Mini Hardtop in the US, with trim-level names like Cooper and Cooper S being a throwback to the sporty Cooper variants of the original Mini. The name Cooper is in reference to John Cooper, a racing driver and influential car designer who played a big part in Mini's history. For 2005, a convertible version of the hardtop was introduced, known as the Mini Convertible. Since then, Mini has expanded its lineup with other models besides the hardtop, like the Clubman and Countryman. As of the 2023 model year, the Mini hardtop is still in its third generation. This 2010 model we have here represents the second generation of the Mini hardtop, codenamed R56, which was produced from model years 2007 through 2013. So the 2010 Mini hardtop, at least in the US, came in three variants. First was the Cooper, which had a tame 118 horsepower from a naturally aspirated inline-four engine. Then there was the Cooper S, which added a turbocharger and made a more potent 172 horsepower. And finally you had this, the John Cooper Works, which was the highest performance model you can get. Like the S, it used a 1.6-liter turbo four-cylinder, but this one got some extra tuning which bumped horsepower up to 208. That number might not sound like a lot on paper, but believe me, in a car this small, this thing's a blast. It just rips. And the one in this video has had some further engine upgrades, so it's probably making even more than just 208 horsepower. While Cooper and Cooper S can be had with either a manual or automatic transmission, the JCW is 6-speed manual only. As you can tell, it doesn't have a traditional 1-gauge cluster in here. You have behind the steering wheel your tachometer, and then the speedometer is, well, a giant centerpiece in the center of the interior in traditional Mini fashion. Within this tachometer cluster, you do have a digital info display. It has a 3-spoke design, leather-wrapped, multifunctional steering wheel. There are sport grips at 10 and 2 and comfort grips all around the rest of the rim. As for controls, on this side you have your audio and hands-free phone controls. And on this side you have your cruise control. The steering wheel is both tilt and telescopic. And when you tilt it, the gauge pod tilts as well. Air vent. On this side you have your exterior lighting and info display stock. And on this side you have your wiper stock. It does have a premium Harman Kardon sound system. Going down the center of the interior, you have an air vent up top, your hazard switch, air vents on either side, your push button ignition, your giant speedometer. You also have your fuel gauge as well. Right here is the radio head unit. You also have a CD player, volume power knob, and then below that you have your single zone automatic climate controls. And cool thing about this is that these controls, this whole thing right here, is in the shape of the Mini badge. Below that you have your power window controls, power door lock switch, and your fog light switch. Storage, power outlet, 2 cup holders. You do have a sport mode and your traction control. Love the black and red on top of that shifter. The parking brake is hand operated. And you have a little cup holder for the rear passengers. You have upper and lower glove boxes. Both sun visors do have vanity mirrors and lights. Auto-dimming rearview mirror, got garage home link. Front passenger gets a grab handle, while the driver, in place of that, gets an auxiliary side-mounted sun visor. Onto the overhead console, you have your overhead lighting, power sunroof controls, and this is pretty cool. You got your ambient lighting, so turn the headlights on. You can change the color of these little ambient lights. But now we'll go ahead and roll down the driver's window. Both windows are fully automatic. And have a look at the engine bay. This one has these really nice 17-inch challenge spoke alloy rims. The John Cooper Works gets its power from a 1.6-liter twin-scroll turbocharged inline-four engine. It's an aluminum dual overhead cam 16-valve power plant with direct injection and variable valve timing. In its stock form, it produces 208 horsepower at 6,000 RPM, along with 192 pound-feet of torque from 1850 to 5600 RPM. Power is sent exclusively to the front wheels via a Getrag 6-speed manual transmission. Running on required premium unleaded with a 13.2-gallon fuel tank, EPA estimates for the JCW are about 25 mpg in the city and 33 mpg on the highway. It has a McPherson strut front suspension and a multi-link rear suspension. Stopping the car are four-wheel disc brakes with vented front ones. Base curb weight for the John Cooper Works Hardtop is just at 2,700 pounds.
But now we'll check out the back seat. Both front seats have storage pockets on the seat backs. Little storage areas on the rear interior panels. Armrests. Grab handles with coat hooks back here. Now, space back here is someone who's about 6'1". Well, as you know, the back seats of these Mini Coopers just aren't very spacious. If you are a much smaller person, like a little kid, might not be too bad back here in a pinch. But as you can see, this is where, you know, I would have the seat if I was driving, and there's just about no legroom. But it's still, you know, you get the performance with the John Cooper Works. I mean, you get the turbo, over 200 horsepower from stock. Absolutely rips. A true hot hatch. And it's still way more practical than like a mid-engine sports car. You still have the back seats, you know, if it's in a pinch, or, you know, short trips, or smaller people. And you can fold the seats down, you know, haul some stuff around. So yeah, this thing is really nice. As you saw earlier, the fuel cap is on the driver's side. Center mounted dual exhaust, rear wiper,
With the back seats up, the Cooper Hardtop offers 5.7 cubic feet of cargo space. Folding the rear seats down increases space to 24 cubic feet.
and the rear seats will go flat if you have the front seats further forward. Anyhow, thanks for checking out this tour of this 2010 Mini John Cooper Works Hardtop. And as always, stay on the lookout for future tours.